a complete like 3D art thing. I mean, it was like a weekend project, man. I mean, I'm not artistic like that. You know?
Neither am I.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have great respect for everybody it is. You know, one thing I learned about you was that you love baseball, you love sports, you play golf, basketball, you shoot hoops, all that. Why football? What drew you to football out in California? Because they just got a team back there recently this week from what I saw.
Yeah. I played all three from as long as I can remember. I think I started playing football when I was first grade. And
first grade?
Yeah. So I was 7.
You've never not played then, football, ever?
Yeah,
that was the first thing you did?
This is going on 24 straight years of football.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So, but from baseball or basketball, did they speak to you in that way or no? Or were you just a better football player?
No, I was actually best at baseball, and I got hit in the face my junior year, and that ended my baseball career.
Hit in the face with a pitch?
Yeah, fastball to the eye, and cracked my cheekbone, fractured my eye socket.
You're the only dude on earth that's played like real football for 24 years and got hurt playing baseball.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
If that never happened, I would have went and got drafted. I would have never.
Did you love baseball?
I didn't love it. No.
Didn't love it.
That's what I was.
What did you play?
At. Center field and leadoff.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy watching it, or is it over for you with baseball?
Nah, I never. I mean,
you've never looked back on any of that. No, not at all.
I love basketball and football. It's both interchangeable. I'm putting a full court NBA-sized basketball court in my house in San Diego. So.
I've seen pictures of you wearing like head to toe like Laker gear. Is that?
Yeah,
that's you.
I'm a diehard. I went to my first game in the Great Western Forum.
So I'm trying to learn about you tonight. I'm trying,
Lakers, diehard Lakers fan. My dad said we're Lakers fan that you either like it or you don't become a fan. So I became a fan. Live and die with the Lakers.
How far from you to go to a Lakers? Hour 15, hour and a half?
Oh, from San Diego or
where
from?
You're from? You're from
like
Alta
45
Loma,
minutes.
Right?
Yeah, Ranch Cucamonga.
Yeah.
It's not too bad at all.
Billick is our partner here for Living Classrooms Foundation. I was talking to him earlier this week, and I didn't realize when I Googled you to figure out where you went to high school, he was from Redlands, right?
Yeah, it's right there. It's like 20 minutes.
I said your high schools probably played each other, right?
Yeah, I played Redlands in high school. We smashed them.
Yeah, right? Yeah, well, I mean, I had no doubt about that. Absolutely. Last thing for you, and I want to get on to Hero and explain what we do here, but you talk about earning the respect of the fans is one thing you told Dan Pompei. I don't know how you do that other than come in and be yourself. I mean, you certainly came with all of that respect from San Diego. I didn't expect you to be anything different here, but there has to be a point where you compare the organizations. This is the way it was there. This is the way it is here. How do we used to do it? How do I do it now? What have been your revelations about all this? Because look, I'm not here to rehash this, and we certainly wasn't going to begin the beginning by saying, well, beat on the charge about what jerks there. I read all the stuff that happened there. I scratched my head, and I scratched my head that they were trying to kind of stiff the city and move the team, and how badly. I didn't like any part of how all that went down. I covered it all. I lost my team at 17 here with the Colts. I saw my dad cry. I don't like all of that. But in your case, they invited you to leave, and you left, and now you're somewhere else, and you knew to keep your career going, you'd have to pick a spot. Obviously, I think you chose wisely about this, but you do compare probably all aspects of what the building was like, what the experience was like. This is a superior experience, I think, for most players when they come from other places.
Yeah, this is it's just something special about Baltimore. The city, the organization, second to none. From everyone within the organization, it's just a tight knit group. Family oriented. They stress that. They believe it. They preach it. They actually, they look out for your spouse. The kids. The things they do Saturday. You could bring your kids in to work with you on Saturdays, and they let them hang out while you're practicing, and they go through the indoor facility and they play and they do games with them. And the minute you're done with the field, the kids come out and you see your kids there. I mean, it's just little things like that. You're just like, wow, this is a special place, and I'm just happy. I'm happy again. And that above anything else, it brings out your best. And I just can't wait to give back and give it all I got.
You know the Super Bowl story about Harbaugh bringing all the families and the kids onto the field. The last practice, he canceled the practice, canceled the walkthrough, and had all the family. This is a Super Bowl. Yeah. This is when everybody's fingers about this tight. You're trying to win or lose, and that comes from John, it comes from Jim, it comes from Jack Harbaugh, it comes from the kind of people they are. Yeah. That is what they believe. So John's inviting us out to Swab. You're going to hear this story again on Friday, so we'll get to you now. This is Eric Sauer. He's from There Goes My Hero. He lives about 10 miles away here in Bel Air. And Eric, come on, tell your story real quick, because I know you got the 2-minute elevator speech here. But when I told Eric about my wife, I didn't tell him about you and the organization and what we've done here over the last 2.5 years.
Okay. So my
You're up.
You're up.
I'm up.
That's a live microphone. Yes.
I'm up. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Eric.
Problem.
Thanks for signing all the autographs. Like Jen, I had a leukemia diagnosis in 2008. The red guy. Stand up, Joe. Ian. So these are my two boys. Ian was 4.5, and Joe was newborn. He was born a week after I was diagnosed with leukemia. A few months after that, I was told I needed a bone marrow transplant to survive. It was the only thing that I really could have done to get through. They matched me with a 19-year-old woman in Germany. I had a bunch of trials and tribulations, which is a really long story, so we'll put that aside. But the short is that she ended up giving her bone marrow somewhere in Germany. It was flown over to Dulles. It was driven up I-95, and it was put into me on November 18th, 2008. I took the better part of 2009 to recover. Because of her, I get to see these guys, being now 8 and 12, and got my friends here to help out. In 2009, when I started to feel better, I thought a lot about the people that helped me, particularly the doctors and nurses at Hopkins and that young woman in Germany who selflessly gave her bone marrow to me. So I started, this organization to help identify people, to add people to the bone marrow registry. The other thing we do is we also work with patients who are going through the treatments. Like I said, for me, it was the better part of almost 2 years. May diagnosis in 2008 and maybe back to work in 2010. So I was 36, and it takes a lot out of a family. And my wife and I, and certainly blessed to have great friends and relatives and business associates that kind of kept us propped up. But a lot of people don't have those resources. So the other thing we do is we work with families who have financial needs, and we provide them meals as they're going through the treatments. So it's the swabbing, getting people on the bone marrow registry, and families who are in need and who are largely at Johns Hopkins and at the University of Maryland, making sure that they get some of the simple necessities in life while they're going through what is a pretty strenuous ordeal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, our situation in 2014, my wife's diagnosed with leukemia. We had to figure out whether we were going to be public with it. Who do you tell, who don't? Well, I had to tell everyone because we had tens of thousands of people to follow us on social media and our friends. We had just come back from Australia, and within the first week, I had 10 people in my life say I needed to meet this guy because he's down the street. He and his associate, Michelle, who also survived, Michelle started coming to my wife's bedside every weekend on her day off. She's a lawyer in Baltimore, to coach my wife, to keep her alive. So that's what we do here. Craig Sager's going through this in the NBA right now. My wife's donor appeared this summer, and I showed you some pictures. We went over to Germany and met him. So we got a lot of miracles around here, and the miracles start. And I've got an incredible, miraculous story that I'm going to share live on Facebook as well as with you right now. Last night we had our golf tournament with Bruce Chris. We were out in Pikesville. Man comes up to me, and it's incredible. I'm going to show you this picture. Man comes up to me. He says, this is Charles Fine. Great event tonight. As I'm sure you remember from our discussion, my dental assistant, my friend, Gennady, came to your event with me downtown 6 months ago. Remember our event, May 19th? We had John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin and Brian Billick on the same stage. We swabbed them. That night, this man got swabbed, like the swabbing station we have here tonight, and he was called 3 weeks ago. He was swabbed and notified he was a match. This is a picture of him yesterday morning giving his bone marrow to save someone's life. Wow. So how about that? My wife's crying. Now she's going to make me cry. So this is what we do here, bro. This is how we roll 25 years in. So we're swabbing the Ravens on Friday. We'd like to swab you right now. It takes 30 seconds. Are you in?
Done.
Done. All right, 30 seconds. Let's get it. Let's do it live. Eric, explain the process while he's doing it. So let's do this.
Okay, it's a simple process. All we're trying to do is get a little DNA.
We'll fill that out in a little bit. We'll do that later.
So the process today is just adding or getting the DNA so we can get the DNA or Eric's information onto the bone marrow registry, and then once it's on the registry, it's going to go at any time a patient's diagnosed and then they need a bone marrow transplant, they get scrubbed against that registry.
So in 2014, there were 2 human beings on Earth that could save my wife's life. One of them stepped up. Last year, she was re-diagnosed. That number was 9. There were 9 people 2 years later that could have saved her life. That's what we're talking about here. People of any ethnicity that's mixed or weird or Black, Asian, Eastern, Western civilization, tribes that were apart have hard times finding matches. My wife's life was saved. His life was saved, quite frankly, because they're white, because they're Caucasian, and
Northern European.
There are more people from that part of the world on the registry. The Asians don't swab. South America doesn't swab. Africa doesn't swab. Therefore, there's no one to save you. So that's our message, I think, for the football players this week. With so many people of different persuasions and different backgrounds, and we're privileged to have you on the registry, joining many of your teammates here tonight. Give it up for Eric on the bone marrow registry with us tonight. And there goes my hero. So it's simple. Just swish and Q-tips.
Swish.
Swish.
Yeah, just wet your
clean
mouth.
your mouth. That's all you're doing. I can hear that. I can hear that. It was a good swish. That was a real swish there. That wasn't a fake swish.
Take one.
Take one.
Scrape the inside of your mouth.
You're good. It was your microphone. That's what it. I've been doing this 25 years. I can't make a mic stop squealing when that happens. So it's 30 seconds into the envelope. Into the envelope. You taking some pictures?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Just making sure we're getting this on video.
I got it.
This is part of the deal, like this. And then we're going to promote this that Eric Weddle's on and Eric Weddle's beard on the internet, on Twitter. They're both on the registry right now. And we're going to get all the Ravens players to do this. And, Cincinnati Bengals have offered to come out and swab the whole team for Marvin. Mike Tomlin, Jack Del Rios wants me to swab the Oakland Raiders. So one thing at a time. Let me do one football. Most important football team is going on the registry on Friday. And I've already had about a dozen of the guys on the team come out and do this. But Eric stepped up to the plate. And he's on the bone marrow registry. We can save some lives here. So that's awesome. My thanks to Steve here at Adams Jeep for being an incredibly generous sponsor throughout all of these swabbings. I know he doesn't really know what my wife looks like except on the video from the Skype when she was bald in the hospital. But she's here. She's alive. She's a miracle. You were a part of it. Everybody out here that supported us, a big part of it. And you too, Eric. Thanks for coming, my brother. All right?
Hey, it was great, man.
We'll keep it up. Eric Weddle, everybody.
Thank you.
Keep in mind out here. I'm Nestor. This is WNST.net, AM 1570, signing off from Adams Jeep in lovely Harford County. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.